Honda already has 40% of the global motorcycle market. That is hard to grasp, but they're not happy there. They want half of the addressable global market for motorcycle sales. Today, we're going to break down Honda's recent motorcycle business briefing, and I'm going to interject from an American perspective because America's not even mentioned in here, which is quite comical, but we're just like 1% of Honda's motorcycle market, essentially. But it is still fun to talk about. So if you guys enjoy this sort of nerdy breakdown, luckily Honda has a great press deck here and slideshow for us to sift through. If you guys like this, make sure to smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I have an automotive channel. That's my main focus. That is my main job, but my motorcycle channel is more of a hobby for me. And it's fun to get on here and talk about what these manufacturers are doing on two wheels. So make sure you subscribe if you like motorcycle news, and let's get into this. Let's try to do our best to talk about what Honda is doing with expanding. So they talk about where they came from. I mean, I was lucky to be at Honda Collection Hall at Motegi this past October for Honda in Japan, and it was incredible to see the motorcycle history there. Honda started with motorcycles, and in North America, motorcycles are a distant business for them. I mean, they might even be distant to their marine power sports. I'm not quite sure how that stacks up, but it's such a small part of Honda's philosophy. It's far behind Acura, Honda's motorcycles in comparison here in the United States. Global production capacity over 20 million units at 37 locations in 23 countries, and there are more than 30,000 dealers throughout the world for Honda. But look at the most recent ones. We're north of India here in Nepal, south of China. We are in Ghana, Western Africa as well. Honda's fundamental philosophy, producing where there is demand. And since there's hardly any demand in comparison, there's just no production here in the United States. All right. You might see production even in the Dominican Republic, small island. Well, they're not a small island nation compared to the rest of the Caribbean, but compared to the United States, they're small. They produce Honda motorcycles there. They produce them in Central America. Of course, in Europe, you see them in Saudi Arabia, so the Middle East. You see them in Indonesia, Philippines. We all talked about Ghana as well. I don't even know where Benin is. I'll go ahead and put Benin on Google Maps for you guys. So 500 million units. Honda is going to hit that this year. And Honda's motorcycle business is highly profitable. Now, if you've been watching my breakdown of Honda and Nissan's, merger fallout, Honda and Nissan were about ready to join together. But the problem is that Nissan's finances weren't good enough. And so Honda's like, well, you guys can't turn around this ship fast enough. It's sinking. You're going to have to let Honda take over Nissan. And that's what Honda was saying. And Nissan's like, that's not fair. We should be equal parts. Honda's like, just because we make the same amount of automobiles doesn't mean we're not a much stronger business, because our motorcycles, Honda makes something like 4 times more revenue on their motorcycles, profit on their motorcycles compared to their automobile business. That's why Nissan thought they were like equal parts Honda, but no. Honda's like, we're more than just a car company, and our motorcycles, we don't want you to drag them down as well. So that potential working with Nissan completely fell apart this week. All right. So it's highly profitable for Honda. Their operating profit here seems to be at an all-time high in 2024. The Asian region, it looks like their profit comes mostly from Asia. You look at advanced nations, hardly any profitability in North America, hardly any, or specifically the United States, and hardly any profit, it looks like, in Europe. Honda's currently at 40% market share, but if you look at these other countries, you see them dominating Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Brazil, Philippines. India, they want to grow in India. India and Africa are probably some of their two biggest markets they have to grow in. Bangladesh as well. China's going to be tough. Their automotive business is struggling in China. And the reason is the rise of Chinese manufacturers, Chinese car manufacturers, Chinese motorbike manufacturers. The United States, Honda has such a small grip in, interestingly, because they have you have Harley Davidson, you have Kawasaki, you have Suzuki, you have Yamaha, you have KTM, you have all the Germans, all the Germans, you have BMW, you have Triumph, etc. And so the United States and the European market are almost equal in terms of Honda domination, all right, which is around or less than a quarter, all right. But Honda still sees more opportunity for growth, especially in Africa, India, and Bangladesh. And then they really focus in. Interestingly, Latin America, they're not really focused on. I'm not sure why they're not focused down there, but Honda is at 50 million units, it looks like. But they want to make 60 million units by 2030 and command about 50% of the market. That is crazy. Now, they think they're going to be expanding quite heavily with electrified options. That might be true in parts of Asia, might be true in Europe, but in the United States, there's going to be very, very low market demand for it, would be my guess. Growth countries. India looks to be the greatest chance of growth for them. They're at 20 million units, but they think they can get past that in the coming years here. So in India, they actually get bikes that we do not get here. We might have Honda scooters. We might have affordable Honda motorcycles, especially the mini motos in the United States. They're not actually that affordable. The Navi is very affordable. The CRF 150L, I think that thing was called, is very affordable. That would be the closest to these motorcycles. Those two motorcycles. Well, we do have some Honda scooters too, but like the Ruckus and some other ones. But it's just these motorcycles that Honda has growth in India is not where they would grow here in the United States. Unless the auto market here falls apart, no one can afford cars. People aren't going to be, and in fact, you have this strange squeezing of the market where e-bikes are kind of making low displacement motorcycles irrelevant, especially in the United States where we have a lot of migrant workers that don't have a driver's license. And so an e-bike is the ultimate get around for them. That's what I'm seeing here in South Florida anyway. So there's just not a lot of people on small displacement motorcycles in the United States due to a lot of different reasons, but our fast roads and our traffic just doesn't make sense for a small displacement motorcycle. That's not a complete toy, I should say, because their mini motos are complete toys. If you look at Latin America, they want these same motorcycles that are doing well in India to expand there. And they're actually going to be exporting those motorcycles that are made in India to Brazil, Latin America, Argentina. I forget what this was. This Peru, Ecuador. I forget. This might be Peru. My flags are not the greatest. My flag knowledge is not very good. All right. They want to keep growing in Indonesia, squeezing the market there, and in the Philippines. These graphs are a bit hard to read, but obviously they're at 55% of the market now. And of course, they want to keep growing there. From 6.2 million in Indonesia to 7 million there. And they have this Click 125, kind of a cute little scooter. I'm sure it has essentially the same engine as my Grom. All right, more growth in Brazil, more growth in Bangladesh, Pakistan, further promote business growth by leveraging strengths in sales and service, procurement, and production. All right, so this is more exciting to me because these are the sort of large displacement motorcycles we see sort of in the United States. Okay, we have the new CBR 650R with the E-clutch. We have the Fireblade. This one's very low volume. The Africa Twin might be higher volume than the Fireblade. The Rebel 1100 is doing well. We don't get the Hornet CB 750. I don't understand why we don't get this Hornet. I would love to have this bike, but I would also love to have the CB1000, the new CB1000 Hornet. It's just too bad we don't get them. And they want to keep promoting their E-clutch technology, which I hope to get to test soon. as well as their DCT. You'll see the DCT on the Africa Twin. And I think the Rebel 1100 might have it too. And in 2024, in Europe, Honda's had the #1 share in 5 major European nations. Wow, they're the biggest in Great Britain. Triumph is not #1 there, or Royal Enfield. That's kind of surprising. Now, we talked about this on my big channel before I made this smaller channel on motorcycles, is that Honda has this new engine coming out, a V3, 2 cylinders in the front, 1 in the back. And you have this electric supercharger, turbocharger thing right here. So in order for that to happen, it would have to be a hybrid, to my understanding, and that would add weight and complexity. But it would give you crazy forced induction with this cool turbocharger, supercharger thing up front. And it's not, and since it's electrically charged or motivated, you would have equal boost throughout the rev range, or at least a lot at low revs, that there wouldn't be a turbo lag or a noticeable boost as you gain in revs. So it should be very, very linear, and Hondas love to be linear, very smooth. So I'm excited to see this in production form. It should be coming. And in fact, I believe Honda's motorcycle CEO has been testing this motorcycle in their test courses in Japan. Motorsport activities, I don't get too much into that. Electric motorcycle strategy, to me, I'm not too much into as well. But I see the benefits of it. I do have a Honda Moto Compacto, which is kind of like an e-mobility scooter for Honda. It only goes about 15 miles an hour though. These things are going to be very popular, I think, in places like India, where battery swapping stations can make a financial business case. In America, it would make no sense for them to have swappable batteries. This is a sort of larger displacement motorcycles that are fully electric that we could see in the United States. This looks like the CE04 from BMW. That thing is such a weird scooter to ride. It's cool though. It's kind of like the Cybertruck of scooters. And then you have this thing. I would be interested in this, absolutely. But these electric motorcycles are very heavy, and I don't enjoy heavy motorcycles a whole lot. So can't wait for solid state batteries to revolutionize e-mobility from the car end to the motorcycle end. Should make things a lot more efficient and a lot more enjoyable to drive. Developing EV Monozukuri. So they are swapping modules between models to reduce costs and to reduce build times and to reduce product development. All right, so that makes sense there. And I think that's airbags. I mean, that's probably for the more expensive stuff. You see Flex Fuels, E85. I mean, what is this? Is this the CB500 or something? CB750? I'm not quite sure what this is here. But it looks cool. I would say this is more for Brazil and other markets where they have a lot of alternate fuels with ethanol and whatnot. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I want to see the Hornet 750 in America. I want to see the Hornet 1000 in America. I want to see retro versions of both of those bikes, not neo retro, but full on retro, modern retro, if that makes sense, like we have with the Z900 RS. And I really miss the CB1100 that was available for sale in the United States. If we can get that sort of ethos of motorcycle built into these new platforms with the CB750 and 1000 in the United States, I would go bonkers. It would be hard for me not to buy one because I'm a big sucker for the retro styling. That's why I'm still struggling with having a Grom and not a Monkey, because I think the Monkey just looks so good and so cute. But remember, also Honda trademarked. Let me pull it up. They trademarked back in November the GB500. So if we can get an air-cooled twin as an old school motorcycle, and that looks like the GB350, that again we don't get in America. I wish we did, because I honestly, it's just such a beautiful bike. Don't know why we don't have something like this in the United States. It makes no sense to me. It looks so much better than the Rebel. It looks so much more comfortable than the Rebel, excuse me. I know those are liquid cooled bikes, but this just speaks to me. I want it so bad. And if we get it in America with a parallel twin, air cooled, I'd be happy. If it's the same 471cc or whatever that's in the SCL 500 or Rebel 500, I don't want that engine. It's very bland. I want this with an air-cooled twin. I don't think I'm asking too much. And hopefully Honda delivers with the GB500 in the United States. Don't know, this doesn't mean it's 100% coming, but look what has come since. That's been trademarked. The RSX is returning for Acura as a coupe crossover EV. Honda Zero Series are 100% happening. I just toured that plant and their EV hub in Ohio. I don't know what this is for lawnmowers, I guess. Osmo AI is going to be in the Zero Series EV for their software. So there are things that they are using for trademarks. And hopefully the GB500 comes very, very soon, because the market here in the United States is thirsting for something like this. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the comments. Let me know what you think about Honda's global domination. 40 to 50, now 40 will be 50% of the market is what they're anticipating, and it's just going to print money for their automotive business. Let me know which motorcycles you want in America. This is at the top of my list, but if they make a 750, like a GB 750 that is has the same parallel twin as a Transalp and the CB 750 Hornet, I would lose my mind. But I would also love to see a GB 350 in the form of a 500 as well. All right, I got to shut it down. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.